Hey, welcome back. Let's begin today's class in Supta Badakanasan. So lie down on your back with the soles of the feet together, knees wide apart. So let your body relax and focus on your breath. Slow breaths in and out through your nose. Focus on breathing all the way down. Feel the lungs expand, the sides of the rib cage lift and spread. And as you exhale, feel the side ribs draw back in and down, the abdomen deflate. Feel your neutral curves as you're practicing breathing like this. The lower back in neutral, the neck. Let your body relax where you can. Now bring your knees together. And bring your right leg up into tabletop, maintaining neutral as you stretch your left leg out. So your lower back shouldn't have flattened or lifted. Now, internally rotate your right thigh as much as you can. Feel where the end is. And externally rotate your thigh. Feel how much you can externally rotate your thigh. And then go back, internally rotate. So we're just moving the joint capsule. Externally rotate as much as you can. Then stretch that out. So we're just feeling how much movement we have in both hips. Left leg up, internally rotate it. Feel how much movement. Externally rotate as much as you can. Internally rotate it, hold, and externally rotate it. Come back to center and stretch out. So we did this when Stacy was here, but we're just checking back to see how the hips are. Roll up to seated and then come onto your hands and your knees. Now from your hands and your knees, we're going to work on doing the hip rotations. So bring your left knee up to your left elbow and then move it out to the side. Don't let anything else move. Take the left knee behind you without your lower back sinking. Hold an extension, and then lower it down next to your right. Lift back up, move it out to the side, brace in your core, bring it up to your elbow, and lower it back down. Lift your right knee up to your right elbow, move it out to the side, internally rotate, take it behind you, squeeze your glute to lift your knee, lower your knee, squeeze to lift back up. Knee out to the side. Externally rotate, bring it back to your elbow, and then lower it down. Stretch back into downward facing dog. So we want to be able to control the hip through its range of motion. And for that to happen, our muscles need to be strong and flexible. So we're going to see if after the practice today, if we're able to control the hip a little bit better, because that's really where the health of our hip is going to come from. Walk your feet forward to the front of your mat. A little bend your knees, let your head drop. Then roll yourself up to stand. As you inhale, raise your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, come into a flat back. Ollie, no. Step back into plank pose. Hold in your plank. Then lower slowly into chaturanga, knees down or not, your call. Inhale into cobra pose. Lift the hands off the mat just an inch. Fire up your back muscles, turn on your legs, turn on your glutes. Lower your chest, come back up, and stretch back into downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up behind you. Exhale, step your foot up to your thumb. Inhale, lengthen in your lunge. Exhale, step your back leg forward and fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into plank. Lower down into chaturanga, knees down or not, your call. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward dog. Inhale, your left leg up behind you. Exhale, step your foot up to your thumb. Inhale, lengthen in your lunge. Exhale, step your back leg forward and fold. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Samastiti. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, flat back. Step back, plank pose. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, your right leg up behind you. Exhale, step your right foot up to the outside of your right hand. Now lower your back knee down. Lower your elbows down like you're going to try to lower your chest down to the ground. Then straighten your arms, and as you inhale, twist. Take your right arm up. Bring your right hand down onto your right knee. Inhale, raise your left arm. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, back up. Hands down, curl your back toes, lift your back knee, and stretch your right leg towards straight. Inhale up onto the fingertips, lift your navel, reach your chest forward. Exhale, step back into downward facing dog. Inhale your left leg up. Exhale, step your foot up to the outside of your hand. Drop your back knee, lower yourself down. Straighten your arms and twist. Take your left arm up. Bring your left hand to your knee. Inhale, come up. Raise your right arm. And side bend. Inhale, back up. Hands down. Curl your back toes, lift your back knee, and stretch your left leg towards straight. Rebend your knee and step back into down dog or out of vinyasa, your call. Then step your right foot to the back of your right wrist, left foot to the back of your left wrist. Hook your big toes, and as you inhale, lower your buttocks, lift your chest. Exhale, straighten your legs and fold forward. Inhale into the squat. As you lower the buttocks, push into the center of the heels. Lift your navel, lift your chest, side ribs. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, slowly lower the buttocks, lift the chest. Exhale, straighten. Then turn your toes in so your feet are parallel. Lower your buttocks back into an imaginary chair. Scoop up your belly, take your arms forward. Bring your hands to your heart and twist. Hook your left elbow to your right knee. Aim your sit bones to reach straight back and reach straight ahead through the crown of your head and between your feet. Now, kind of a tricky transition. From here, can you shift your weight into your right foot, step your left leg back into a lunge? If it's too much to keep your back knee up, just lower the knee down, work on the twist. Otherwise, work on strengthening and balancing at the same time. Now bring your fingertips to the ground, set up your back foot for warrior one, hug your right hip in, inhale, come up, raise the arms up. Bring your hands back down to the mat, step back, plank pose, take a vinyasa or stretch right back into down dog, your call. Look forward, Step or hop to the top. Inhale into a flat back. Exhale, fold. Feet hip distance apart, hip socket distance as you sit back into the chair, arms forward. Hands to prayer. Now twist from your navel up. Hook your elbow. Draw your right knee back so your knees line up again, shins line up. The sit bones aim straight back. Reach forward through the crown of your head as you twist. Press the right elbow down, lift the heart. Now lean over into your left heel and control your right leg back. Find one line of energy from your back ankle to your hip, up through your spine. Then fingertips to the ground, set up your back foot. Inhale, come up, raise arms. Relax the inner shoulder, upper trapezius. Lift up through the outer armpits. Stretch your arms. Bring your hands down. Step back, plank pose. Take a vinyasa or just go straight back into downward facing dog. From down dog, bend your knees and look forward. Step or float up to the front. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale into your chair, sit your hips back, arms up. Stand Samasthiti. Bring your hands behind your back, press your knuckles together, or take reverse prayer. Step your left foot back about 3.5 feet. Ground through your heel, and as you inhale, back bend up in your upper back, roll your chest open. Exhale, fold forward out over your right leg. Press down into your feet and inhale, come back up. Right hand to your hip, raise your left arm straight up. And reach, twist, put your hand down onto the outside of your foot. Turn from your navel, turn your rib cage, take your right arm up. So if your hips, hamstrings, and paraspinals are real tight, I recommend using a block like I'm using, or if they're really tight, tighter than mine, I recommend putting your hand up on a chair or even at a wall so you can get enough height so that your spine can elongate so that you're not hunched over. Now from here, like a windmill, we're going to come up and around for the other side. So press into your feet, come up and around. We'll have the block there just for the next side, but we'll bring the hands to reverse prayer or knuckles behind the back. See if you can get them all the way up by your thoracic spine, middle upper back. Inhale, roll back bend from there. And then as you exhale, lengthen out over that left leg. Now with this concept of today's class, we don't want to hang in the joints when we're holding the standing poses. So you could just sink into your flexibility real easily and put the stretch on the joints, which is not a good idea. You don't want to be pulling at your connective tissue there. So instead, press into your left foot, turn on the muscles in your left leg like you're pulling a giant sock up from your ankle all the way up towards your hip, and then see if you can lengthen forward and down more evenly out over your leg. Now don't strain to do that. It should be a balanced effort. There's a lift, but you still feel calm. You can breathe through your nose. Press into your feet and inhale, come up. Raise your right arm and reach, twist, put your hand down. Turn your rib cage, raise your left arm. press down through your feet. Like a windmill, come up and around to the top of your mat. Stand, Samasthiti. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Step back into down dog or take a vinyasa. And then from downward dog, step your right foot up to your right thumb. Drop your back knee down, swivel your left foot over to the right, and then as you inhale, come up like you're going to do warrior two, except with the back knee down. Then from there, bring your forearm to your thigh or hand onto the ground and hook your left elbow, forearm behind your head. Reach down from your left hip into your left shin, open from your right inner thigh to your right knee. Then press down, come back up. Hands to the mat, step back, vinyasa, or stretch back to dog. Change sides, step your left foot. Drop your back knee, swivel it, and as you inhale, come up. Exhale, go forearm to thigh or hand on the inside of your foot as you take your arm over. Slide your hand. So we have big fascial bands that connect from our hips up into the armpits, shoulders. So that's why sometimes if you do a real nice hip stretch class, you might feel like everything starts moving nicely in your spine. You feel a release in your shoulders and your neck because it's all connected through specific fascial bands. Slow breath in through your nose. Slower breath out. Come back up, arms spread out. Bring your hands down. Step back, plank pose. Take a vinyasa or control yourself back into down dog. Then we're going to do a little bit of abdominals and then we'll finish checking out the hips. What happened with the hips after that practice? So from here, jump through to seated and come into Badakanasan. Soles of the feet together, knees wide apart. As you press the heels, stretch from the groins into the knees, breathe your spine tall. Now, if you're real flexible, you don't feel like much of a stretch in this pose, then you can start to tip forward, lean forward, maybe even put your head onto a block or something or on the ground. Then scoop your knees together, lie down onto your back. Now from your back, I recommend using a block for this abdominal exercise. You're going to bring your legs up into tabletop position, holding the neutral spine, feeling your back ribs in contact with the ground. So slowly lower your arms back as you lower your right leg. Keep your abdominals hugged in. Bring it back up. Reach the arms back as you lower the left leg. Hug the front ribs in and down. Hug the low abs, the space between your front hip bones in. Come back up. Keep going. Alternating legs. And see if you can slowly increase the range of motion. If you want to make it the most challenging, go both legs at the same time. Now crunch up and over to the outside of your right knee, squeeze up, and see if you can lower the left. Back up, change sides. Back up, change sides. Back up, change sides. Crunch from your abs, not your neck. Back up, lift up in the middle. Stretch your right leg forward. Change, left. Squeeze your abs in. Maybe both. Then set your feet down. Come into bridge pose. Press your heels down with your feet hip distance apart. Descend your upper arms, shoulder heads. Wrap the fronts of the thighs in towards each other, front hip bones in towards each other, front ribs in towards each other. Roll the skin of the upper chest up and over the shoulders. Engage the backs of your legs and your glutes. Neck in neutral, jaw relaxed, tongue passive. Lower your butt back down and lift back up. Lower your buttocks back down. Now open your arms out to the side. Cross your right ankle over your left knee. Slowly let your legs fall over to the left. So there's lots of different variations of supine twisting. This is one of my favorite for lower back issues. This twist in particular comes from the Egoscue method and for the lower back series. So I'll introduce some different twisting, supine twisting throughout the course, and I want you to feel free to stick with the variations that work best for your body. Of course, we want to be able to introduce variation into our practice, but if it feels like something's really healing and therapeutic, you can keep going to that for quite a while. Come back to center and change sides. There's even a trick if you're in a especially tight lower back situation. I have a block over to the side. I just let the legs fall over onto the block, and that will limit the amount that my spine rotates, which you'd want to do as a therapeutic initially, so that you're not going into like the deepest stretch. If that doesn't make any sense, you're like, I feel great here, forget about any of that, and just let the legs fall over. Now come back to center, and with your left knee crossed over top of your right knee, see if you can grab a hold of your shins, your ankles, or maybe even your feet. If it doesn't feel like much stretch, you can start to lift the feet out to the sides, and that'll increase the stretch that you're going to get in the outer hip. Now I want you to observe where you're feeling the sensation. What does it feel like in that area? Breathe into it. Change the cross of the legs. So one of the things that it's good to know where you're trying to target into the pose, but to have someone always telling you where you're supposed to feel the sensation, how the sensation is supposed to feel, it can disconnect you from your own body and your own practice. So instead of me constantly telling you where you're going to feel it, or where I'll continue to give you cues about how to engage things, how to align safely. But I want this practice to start to train you to become more mindful of what's happening in your body, so that the practice is a moving meditation. Feel where you're feeling the sensation. It might feel different on this side. Breathe into that. And as you consciously take the breath down, feel that it's cueing your nervous system to allow your body to relax. Now this next part's going to be kind of cool. Set your feet down and then take your right leg up into table. So remember how we started trying to rotate the leg? Let's try that. Internally rotate it as much as you can, and then I want you to turn on those muscles and see if you can turn it a little more. So not only can you turn your thigh more, but you have more access to engaging those muscles to turn it. Isn't that cool? Change directions. When you hit the end, see if you can turn it a little deeper. Feel the bone rotating in the socket. And then set that down. Change sides. So we're getting the capsule to move, which is really important. It should feel like, now I'm going to tell you what it should feel like. It'll almost feel like the bone is stretching. Like you're feeling deep, deep, deep in the socket. And then change the direction. When you hit the end, relax into it, but then see if the muscles can grab and turn a little bit more. Like you're feeling the bone in the socket stretching, turning. And then set that down. Take Shavasana, corpse pose. So instead of looking for extreme ranges of motion, which is something that I often try to do when I first started yoga, now I'm more interested in the health of the joints. This comes from years of practicing yoga and seeing what can happen from jamming the body into extreme end ranges. So even though it might look cool, it's alluring, we want to go into cool shapes with our body, this isn't really where it's at. Instead, we want to focus on keeping things healthy. We don't want to end up having to get a hip replacement because we were trying to jam our leg behind our head for 15 years. It might happen one day. It feels like it feels good to go into it, but we don't want to force our body. All right, so now just relax. Feel the soothing sensation of your breath. Nose breathing in and out through your nose. Don't try to control it now, just watch. Gently bend the knees. Roll onto your side. And press up. Thank you. Namaste. So if you're able to feel that movement with your hips, let me know below if you were able to get better range of motion. If you had a more sticky hip, either an internal or external rotation, also let me know that below. We're going to be working on different parts of the body and focusing on mobility throughout the challenge, so just look forward to that. One of the most common issues starts to become wrists, shoulders, and lower back. So we're going to focus on that in the days to come. Thanks so much. Have a great day. We'll see you next time.